A very good evening to all of you. Thank you very much for making time, coming in and listening to me and my story. Among the many voices that you will be hearing around International Women's Day in 2022, the entire theme of this series of interventions is very aptly titled The Leveling 2022. What does it mean for us? What does it mean for you? What does it mean for someone like me? To my next few minutes of speaking to you, I wish to uncover some of these. Um, a year or so ago, I received a very interesting call from a speaker session curator. They said, Zainab, is going to be absolutely awesome for you to come and speak to us and to our senior leadership. We heard you speak, and I think it's best that you speak to us. And I said, wow, great, sure, why not? So what do we put as your tagline? And I said, I'm a development practitioner and a feminist, because this was around International Women's Day. And they said, you see, these are very, very strong terms. They'll frighten away our audience. And I said, okay, then what about inclusion catalyst? And there was this drone like, on the other side of the phone. And then they said, what about storyteller? I mean, you can help us, make us think and dream. And I said, with a bit of uncertainty, I said, why not? Okay. The reason why I'm sharing with you today is not that I didn't want to be labeled as a storyteller. I take great pride in being called a storyteller. But what I wanted to absolutely highlight is the disdain where I was shown that I would be a transgender person, but not be a gender equality champion, and certainly not be a feminist. That was a bit scary. And I think all of this results from the fact that we have biases. And what is this bias? For me, if you have a brain, you have a bias. So let's just own it. Sometimes biases help us with really simple things like whom you are talking to and how we make our choices. And on the other extreme, it also decides whom we want to work with, whom we interact with, and more importantly, whom we decide to promote. So, in my professional journey, I have grown up hearing that transgender persons only play with dolls. They probably even wouldn't know how to drive. You aren't good at studies, and definitely you can't play a sport. They are talkative, we are extremely fond of gossiping, and of course, shopping, and the absolute favorite. You probably love dancing and using makeup. And these were some of the absolute everyday stereotypes we face around the world and have to deal with it on an ongoing basis. The other day, I was reading the Global Gender Gap Report from 2021, and it said that it would take 135 years to achieve gender equality. Yes, you heard that right, 135 years. A year or so ago, more than a year ago, it was about 99.5 years. We've added to 36 years due to the COVID pandemic. And I said, like, wow, I wonder how much it would take for transgender persons like me to achieve equality. I think a century, perhaps. And I was looking at it from the various things that I've gone through my childhood. Being asked to leave a classroom, being asked to leave a residence, being asked to leave a city, to be told that if we don't give people jobs like you, who else would? I think it absolutely dehumanized me. It made me someone that was only identified because of the body I chose to have, or the clothes that I supposed to wear, or in terms of falling in love with the person that I wanted to do. But irrespective of all these odds, I persevered. And whenever I persevered, it was not easy. Today, I'm privileged. I still take home a five-figure salary. I'm one of the few trans voices who's visible, who's celebrated, who's articulate, who's leaned on and listened to. But this journey wasn't easy. And more often than not, through my career working with the United Nations, through my career working with different development partners, with the private sector, I realized that the fact still remains that we create unfair expectations from women and trans people. We still expect them to spearhead efforts for change. Like we expect them to be a great model. Like, okay, great. Transgender Zainab is absolutely fine. She's a role model. Now, whether I choose to be a role model or that's a different thing altogether. We want to parade them in front of our interview candidates. Let's splash her on television. Let's keep her video rolling on the board. And I'm not saying this as like we as those women are unwilling to do some of these things. I'm just maybe not passionate enough to want to participate in all of this. However, all of these also takes away our ability to actually do our jobs. All of this is to say that the responsibility for creating this change doesn't fall on women alone, or on single groups, or on marginalized communities. It falls on all of us. It falls on you, all of us. And we all need to work for this change. As we approach International Women's Day, I wish I really had a cheery message to post about the state of women and all other genders on this International Women's Day. But the fact remains that we still have lots and lots of work to do. I want to challenge you today. What can you do to make a difference? What can you do to improve diversity and inclusion? Can you mentor someone? Can you pass along some words of encouragement? Can you ask your executives about the topic at your next company meeting? Believe me, none of it will be easy, none of it will be fast, and none of it will be comfortable. However, together, I do believe we can make real and lasting difference. So when I was trying to summarize for this discussion, and I was thinking, what is the best way to go ahead? What is the advice I would like to give? What is it that I would like you to consider? And this is not only to the men who are on this call as allies or potential allies. It is all those women and girls and people of all genders who are listening in. The first thing I would like you to do is believe in yourself. Think of your favorite hero. Do you sometimes recall the confidence she has or he has in himself, the goal, herself, himself? Having faith in yourself is absolutely the source of power that you should be looking for to overcome any kind of fear and challenges. You are brilliant. We know it. We want you to know it too. Challenge the status quo. As a trans person, I have always been told this thing doesn't exist for you. The glass ceiling doesn't exist. We need to break through the concrete ceiling. But sometimes I get tired. And if you're not sure what change you can make, take a look at your own life, the life of people around you, your community, and ultimately the world. What is the status quo? How is the status quo serving or not serving people? What do you wish was different? Simply asking these questions is a way to challenge the world and the status quo. You can do and always do with small things and in big ways. What matters is that you need to make a start. You need to make a start to challenge your own stereotypes, stuff that you've been brought up with, stuff that you've been inundated with, stuff that you've learned over the years. It is going to be pretty challenging, pretty difficult. But in order to change the status quo, you need to be a disruptor. Speak up. The next time, the big step that you need to take is being bold And when you need to create change, you need to speak up. This requires a leap of faith. So when you're not sniggering at that homophobic, transphobic, misogynist joke that you've received as a WhatsApp forward, when you refuse to let down sniggering at a water cooler, when you refuse to laugh at a homophobic, transphobic reference, misogynic reference, this might sound like a scary proposition, right? Because all of us are so inundated with it. But as people around us have discovered, sharing what you believe in will help you find allies and give you the courage to those who share your belief. Tell the truth and speak it from your heart. Next thing is take action. Big changes happen with one small bite-sized action at a time. If speaking up requires courage, then taking action requires perseverance. You know, imagine your favorite actor who's doing this thing, this favorite scene of your movie. They probably have taken hundreds of takes and hundreds of retakes of small actions that constantly change the frame of the movie. That is why change requires perseverance. The good news is that simple actions are possible every day. So get started. Empower others, and most importantly is keep the commitment. I think this is when someone asks me, what would be the best way you see the different resetting? And I believe that if you want to hit the reset button, you have to keep your commitment up. You have to keep your faith up. Do that again. Wake up, change, and repeat. Renew your faith. Don't stop challenging the status quo. Keep speaking up, take small actions, and empower those around you. The change that you want to see around is right around the corner. If you just keep trying and doing every single day, never give up. So someone says, how do you change the benchmark? I think if I were to ask that, I would focus on excellence, irrespective of gender, irrespective of body type, irrespective of color, religion, status quo, ability, orientation. And I think that makes us a different person. That would make us smart, intelligent person. So if we want to see gender equality in our lifetime, if you want to see parity coming through, we need to put these steps in action as we move along. So these were the things that I learned and relearned over the last few years. I urge you and everyone on this session today to sit back, think, and reflect on more ways to empower each other, to lift everyone up. Because gender equality doesn't stem from the fact that we talk about it every International Women's Day, but on every single day of the calendar year, when we do our actions, make sure that we prioritize, we empower, and we share the burden of our not so fortunate colleagues, friends, co-workers, family members. Thank you very much, and happy International Women's Day to all of you.